Hi there, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to see form validation using JavaScript. Forms are a crucial part of our web application. Every time we open some website, we see some forms to be filled, and those forms needs to be filled correctly by the end user. And in order to do that, we need to validate our form. So we'll see how can we do that. So without any delay, let's begin. As you can see, I have a form validation folder here which is empty, and I have opened it in my VS Code here. So here I'm going to create three files. First one is the HTML one. The second one is going to be the CSS file, and then the third file is going to be the JavaScript file. Let's go to the HTML and write some code here. So I'm going to use emmet to generate some boilerplate HTML, and here in the title I'm going to write form validation using JavaScript. Okay, I made a typo there. Fine. Now I'm going to add this app.js file in my index.html using the script tag, and here inside the source I'm going to write app.js, and I need to add my CSS file as well. So here it is being added. You can see in the href it's style.css. Okay, so I need to write here app.css because I named it as app. Now I'm going to create a div with a class called container. Now inside that, what I'm going to do is create form. And since it's a sign up form, so in h1 tag I'm going to write sign up form, and let's start creating HTML form with the form tag. Okay, so I don't need any action here, but obviously I need an ID which I'm going to name it as form here. Alright, and here I'm going to make each input, I'm going to wrap each input inside the div so that I can give some set amount of width and height to them. So each div is going to have class called form group. Come on, it's p, and inside that I'm going to create a label in order to label it, and since it's a name, so I'm going to write it your name, and here I'm going to write full name, and I'll create an input tag which is going to be text obviously, and ID is going to be name. So notice the label for value should be the same ID of the input value, so it is going to be linked. And next thing I'm going to use is placeholder here, where I'm going to say enter your name. Okay, so we are done. Let me arrange my code using Alt G. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm just going to copy this multiple times here. Okay, we are done with the copy. Now let me replace some value. Like here, this is going to be an email value. So here I'm going to write email, and here it is going to be email as well. And here I'm going to say enter your email. This one is going to be the password field. Okay, the last one is also going to be password field. So I'm going to write it here password. Cool. And here this is also going to be password itself. Here it is going to be confirm password. Confirm password. And here the ID is going to be confirm password. So the for value also needs to be same as I told earlier in order to link them. And obviously here I need to write password. Okay, we are done. And Now we have created our full name, email, password, and confirm password. Now the end thing that is left is we need to create a button out here, and inside the button I'm going to give type equals to submit. So notice here inside my form I have removed that action property because I want to submit the form data when the button is clicked. So that's why I'm giving type submit. So when I hit this button with type submit, the form data is going to submit inside the server. If suppose we are to connect this with a backend, but we are not going to do this here. We are just going to see how to validate our form and here. So this one is going to be sign up button. Okay, cool. We are almost done. Now only one thing left, that is success or error message that we need to display. And here I'm going to create a div, and the class is going to be the message container here. Okay, message container, and inside h3 the id is going to be message. So we are done with the skeleton, that is the HTML part of our form. Here I'm not writing anything because I'm going to enter the value using JavaScript by doing some DOM manipulation. So let me run this live server and see how far we have come. So let me close this tab. So okay, this is how it is looking. Okay, I know it's not looking that good, so that we are using CSS in order to make it beautiful. Okay, please excuse, sometimes I get fumble a lot. Cool, now let's get started with the CSS here. So I'm going to do a universal selector, that is star, and I'm going to remove all the default margin and padding, that I'm going to give 0, and box sizing I'm going to give border box. So this star is known as universal selector in case you don't know, and here I'm giving margin 0, padding 0 because I want to remove all the default margin and padding that is given by the browser, and the box sizing I'm making border box so that it reduces, again it clears out all the default height and width that is given by the browser. Now let me target our body tag here. So inside the body I'm going to write display as flex. Okay, and flex direction is going to be column. Justify content that I'm going to give center, and align items is also going to be center. So this is simply going to center our element here. So we can see it got center. Now what we need to do is we need to target the container that we have created in our HTML. As you can see, here is a div and the class is having container class. So I want to target this and add some CSS here. So I'm going to add some CSS. So firstly I'm going to give some width and height. The width that I'm going to give is 480 pixel, and height that I want to give is 450 pixel. Margin top, that is going to be 40 pixel. Okay, so you might be wondering how am I giving such an accurate value. So before I record a video, obviously I do create a project and get that exact value so that I don't want to waste your time. But in your case, if you're building from scratch, you can try and test and you'll reach that exact number. And now the display, that is going to be flex, and the flex direction is going to be column again, and I'm going to give align items as center. Here again, this line of code helps me to center element, right, center the element in the browser. And I'm going to give box shadow property here. So what is that box shadow? I'm going to show you. So box shadow here, it's going to be 0, 5 pixel, 30 pixel, and 10 pixel. And I'm going to add RGBA color, that is going to be 0, 0, 0, and this is going to be 0.4. Okay, so let's see how it's looking. So now I think I need to make it little bit edgy here. So I need to give border radius of, let's say, 10 pixel I'm giving, and now it's looking decently good in the edge side. Now I need to center all this as well. So we are getting it there, don't worry, we'll get it slowly. Now there is this container h1 I'm targeting, and I'm going to give margin top as 15 pixel, and now I'll directly target the form element, and I'm going to give its width that I'm going to give is 90% so that it remains in the center both from the left and the right side. And notice I've given a form group class here in all the div that is wrapping our input element so that I can give equal spaces and heights to them. So it's time to use this form group class here. I'm going to select it from form group class, and I'm going to give height that is going to be 65 pixel. And now I'm going to select input element directly, so it is going to select all the input element inside the form. Here I'm going to give width of the input element that is going to be 100% out here. Height I'm going to give that is going to be 34 pixel out there. Border I'm going to give 1 pixel solid and black. Okay, and I'm going to give outline as none. So let's see how is it looking. So it's decently stepping it up, so we are going to make it better. Let's continue further. After input is done, obviously I want to select the button tag, but before that I want to add some padding out here, and the padding value, let's say I'm going to give 5 pixel. And now let me see. Okay, now it's looking quite good. So now let me target the button out here. Button, the first thing is I want to give cursor pointer, and after that I want to give the color of the text that is going to be white here. This FFF code is a white code, and background, not origin, it is going to be color, and that one obviously is going to be black. After that, border, I don't want any border in the button, so I'm making it none. Width obviously is going to be 100% with respect to the form elements that I have given. The font size, that is the text size inside the button, that I want to be 20 pixel here, and letter spacing I want to give it so that it looks more beautiful, and that one it's going to be 2 pixel out here. Height I have given, no I haven't given, so let me give the height that is going to be 45 pixel. So let's see our button. Okay, good, it's looking good. Now I need to shape up the error message as well. So let's go to the VS Code back, and notice we have a class here, message container. So this is for success or error message. I'm going to grab this class and try to add some CSS property out here. So this is a message container. Here it's going to be display flex, again justify content that is going to be center so that I can center it out, and margin top I'm going to give 20 pixel, but you won't be able to see this style here since I haven't added any value. If I suppose add some value for test, then here you can see this is the value, but I want to remove it because I want to inject the value inside H3 using JavaScript based on the situation. If we are successfully signing up, I want to display success message here. If I'm failing, then I want to display some error message out here. Okay, so I want to inject it using JavaScript, so I'm keeping it empty as of now here. So cool, we are done with the HTML and CSS part of the form. Now the main part of this video, that is JavaScript, is coming up. So let's get started with JavaScript. Let's go to the JavaScript file here, and here inside the JavaScript file we'll be grabbing some of the value. So first obviously we want to grab the form. So in order to grab it, we need to do document dot query selector, which we have here, and then I want to grab the form element. So I'm writing hash form. So hash means I'm trying to grab the form ID, and if you're wondering, here is this form ID, so I'm trying to grab this element by doing so here document.query selector, and it's storing inside the form variable. So similarly I'll be grabbing all this field: name, email, password, confirm password. Okay, so let's do it quickly here. I'm going to give your full name value. Come on, full name, and it's going to be document dot query selector, and ID is name that I have given there, which you can see, okay, it's not comma, it's going to be dot. Here you can see it's name, and for email I have email, for password I have password, and for conf password I have got confirm password. Okay, so let's copy this and make it quickly. So it's going to be email, and here I'm going to make it email. Here this one is going to be password, and again this one is going to be password as well, and this guy it's going to be confirm password. So here I'm going to write confirm password. Okay, we are done with grabbing the value. Wait, we need to grab two more values. So here see we have this message container and message to display the success or error message. So let's grab these values as well. So I'm going to duplicate it, and here I'm going to write message container, and here let's make it as message container, and here this is simply going to be message. Okay, so whether these are class or IDs, let me see. Okay, so the above one is class, and then the below one is ID. So message container is class, so in order to grab the class we need to do dot, and for ID we write hash. So we are done with grabbing the value. Now next thing is we need to listen to the event. So we are going to write an event listener out here. So how can we listen the event? We are going to listen to the event based on the submission of this sign up form. So when user hits this sign up button, we want to listen to that event. So how can we do that? So you can see in this sign up button I have got type equals to submit. So we are going to listen to this submit type. So we are going to do form dot add event listener, and I'm going to listen to submit type. Okay, so this is event listening, and once we listen means once user click the button, what do we want to do? We want to run a function. That function is going to be get form data. Okay, I'm just randomly naming the form function name. You can name it as you like it. So I'm going to create that function now, get form data here. This is how I'm creating a function, and now I need to write this event. Okay, so I'm getting some event here, so I'm writing here event dot prevent default. So why am I writing event dot prevent default is because when user click on the submit button, it somehow tries to redirect into another page or try to do some kind of action, due to which we are going to lose all our data, and we want to avoid that. This is the default behavior of our form. Now we are holding that default behavior using this event.prevent default. Now once we are done with this much, we are coming to actual part, that is form validation. So let's start validating the form. So I'm going to comment it out here and write form validation, and I'm going to create a function that is going to be validate form, which I'm going to create here on the top. the function name is going to be again validate form. Okay, now it's very simple. How can we validate? It's just series of if else statement that we are going to run. So we have full name which we have grab here. Now we are going to do full name dot value. As soon as I do full name dot value, so whatever the user types in this full name field, I'm going to get that value out here. So I'm going to say if full name dot value, that if it is going to be empty here, I'm making it empty, then obviously I need to give some error message to the user. Hey user, you need to fill something out here. And how can I give this message? That's very simple, using this message, and this message is coming from HTML, that is here success or error message, and it's the ID of h3 tag. So I'm going to simply say message dot text content, means I'm inserting some text using JavaScript inside the h3, and I'm going to write here please fill the full name. Okay, typo again, full name field. That's it. And once that is done, I want to give some coloring also. So I'm going to give message dot style. Okay, not get element by id. Message dot, I'm going to give style dot color, that is going to be red. So the color of the text is going to be red, and I'm going to write this return statement. So why am I writing return statement is because I know your user hasn't filled anything because it's empty, so I don't want to process this form, right? So if user is not filling anything, I directly want to return and terminate this function so that it is going to show some red error message there and user is going to fill the data. I hope you got the point. Now I'm simply going to copy paste here multiple times, and I'm going to check with all the fields using the same technique. Full name is done. That means now I'm going to check email, and if email value is empty, I'm going to write please fill the email field. That's all. After that, I want to check the password, and I'm going to write please fill the password field here. And once password is done, obviously I want to check confirm password, and if it is empty, I'm going to say please fill confirm password field. Once that is done, another scenario might be that user might enter something here in password and something different in confirm password, but both this value needs to be matched, right? So we need to add one more checker that I'm going to do here. That is going to be password dot value, and here it is going to be confirm password dot value. Both this value needs to be same, and if this value somehow is not same, then again we are going to throw some error, and that error is going to be password and confirm password does not match. That's what we are going to say out here. Okay, I'm done with this as well. Let's see. Okay, cool. So we are almost done. Now if the user has entered all the data, all the field, that means it is not going to enter in any of the if statement. That means all the data are filled correctly. That means I need to enter some success message and display some success message to the user. So how do I do that? Again, using same message. So I'm going to say message dot text content, that is going to be hooray, sign up success. So that's what I'm going to write. Obviously I won't be writing hooray, that's too bad. And I want to make this sign up success to be in green color, because here the error are in red as you can see, but the success should be in green color. So I'm going to say message dot style dot color, that is going to be green. Alright, so it seems like it's working. So if it isn't working, we're going to see what's wrong and we'll be fixing it. So let's see here. Let me refresh it out here and let me hit the sign up button. So as you can see, please fill the full name field. It's asking me to fill this full name. So here I'm going to type my name, that is Rajesh, And again, if I hit sign up button, it's saying please fill the email field. Means I need to fill email as well. So let me write an email here. That is going to be rajesh@gmail.com. Okay, I filled my email. Now it wants me to fill password here. So let me enter some password here. I've entered my password. Hit button. Again, it's asking me you have filled password, but you haven't filled confirm password. So please fill that as well. Okay, I'm filling my confirm password. Now let me sign up. Oh, see, I can see now password and confirm password does not match. Means I've entered two different passwords. So I need to match that password. Let me try again. It's not matching up. So let me match it up and hit OK. Now the password matches. I filled all the data and now it's showing me sign up success. So that's it guys. It was very easy. It is a form validation done by JavaScript, and I know there are multiple ways of doing it. This was just one of the easiest way to do form validation using JavaScript. I don't want to complicate things, so I've shown you in the most easy way possible. What you can do is see, you can see there are so many repetitions that I've made. You can write all this into a separate function and remove this repetition, and I could have taught you in that way, but I don't want to complicate this thing. Obviously I'm going to show you a better way in the upcoming videos. So till then, just hit that like button, subscribe my channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.